I'm sure most of you know what an iceberg chart is, and you're also probably familiar with the Mario series, so I'm not going to go on for hours and hours with a long intro. Today, I'm going to explain every entry on this Super Mario iceberg as best as I can. This is the director's cut of this iceberg, which combines the two parts into one, but that's not it, as after the iceberg we will interview the creator of this iceberg, NatterJohn, and go over corrected entries, fan-suggested entries, and the future for these icebergs. It is certainly a treat and you won't want to miss it. Not gonna waste any more time with this, so let's get into the iceberg. Mario vs. Sonic. This could be referring to two things. The Mario and Sonic the Olympic Games series, where Mario and Sonic characters compete in the yearly Olympics. Or, it could be referring to the fact that in the early 90s to the early 2000s, Mario and Sonic's games were always competing against each other, as Nintendo and Sega were competing with each other. Bowser in Wreck-It Ralph. In the 2012 movie Wreck-It Ralph, Bowser makes a cameo in the movie. He is seen in the bad guys meeting along with other recognizable gaming villains, such as Dr. Eggman from Sonic and Clyde the Ghost from Pac-Man. He is seen drinking coffee and speaking, however this could just be movie logic. Super Mario Bros. 2 and Super Mario Bros. 3 aren't real. This is common knowledge by now, but Super Mario Bros. 2 and 3 didn't actually happen. The events of Mario 2 all happened in Mario's dream. This makes a lot of sense because the world you explore in the game is called Subcon, as in subconscious. The events of Mario 3 have been confirmed as a stage play. Note how the semi-solids are bolted, the floating platforms are on tracks, and you end the level by running behind a black area, signifying Mario running off stage. Warp zones. Warp zones are areas in which Mario can warp to different worlds in the game. They are normally hidden in underground stages behind the final pipe. These warp zones are often used for speedrunning as a way to get to the end of the game faster. There is also a world called the Warp Zone in Super Mario Bros. 3. You get to this world by using a warp whistle and can choose a world to go to. Switch Palaces. Switch Palaces are places in Super Mario World. Throughout many levels, there are many colored outlined squares called dotted line blocks. These squares can become blocks by activating their respective colors switch at the Switch Palaces. These palaces are usually found by accessing the secret exit of an adjacent level, the only exception being the Yellow Switch Palace. A total of 4 Switch Palaces are accessible in Dinosaur Land, and each one of them is not playable again once it's completed. Super Luigi Galaxy. After beating the story mode of Super Mario Galaxy, you can replay the game as Luigi. Everything remains the same as the original, aside from you now being Luigi. You can even rescue Luigi as Luigi. Pretty weird. Hotel Mario. Hotel Mario is a puzzle/platformer game released on the Philips CDI. It was published by Royal Philips Electronics, who had acquired the rights to produce Mario games. Released in June of 1994 in North America, the game had low sales partially due to the lack of interest in the CDI system, and received mainly poor reviews. Retrospectively, Hotel Mario is generally considered one of the worst Mario games ever made, topping most worst Mario game lists, with most criticism of the game going toward its cutscenes.
Nice of the princess to invite us over for a picnic, eh, Luigi? I hope she made lots of spaghetti. Luigi, look!
Despite the game's negative reception, Hotel Mario has amassed a cult following over time for the alleged so bad it's good nature of its animation and voice acting. Many internet memes, specifically YouTube poops, were created because of the poor quality. L plus R plus A equals Luigi. In New Super Mario Bros., after completing the game, in the last scene of the credits, it says, select a file, arrow, L plus R plus A equals, and then a silhouette of Luigi's head. If you follow the game's instructions by holding L, R, and A when selecting a file, you will start the game as Luigi. He functions the same, so the changes are purely cosmetic. Movie, cartoon, and comic adaptations. There have been many adaptations of the Mario series, to varying degrees of success. There were the cartoon shows from the late 80s and early 90s, those shows being the Super Mario Bros. Super Show, The Adventures of Super Mario Bros. 3, and Super Mario World. They have gained a cult following on the internet, similar to Hotel Mario. However, people like the cartoons for good reasons. There have been many comic adaptations, the most popular being Super Mario Adventures and Super Mario Kun. Super Mario Adventures was originally serialized in Nintendo Power magazine in 12 installments between the January to December of 1992. The comic was written by Kentaro Takakuma and illustrated by Charlie Nozawa. When the comic tells a large unique story, it is loosely based on the events of Super Mario World, featuring many of the same enemies and characters. Super Mario Kun is a Japanese exclusive manga series written by Yuku Sawada. They are comprised of retellings of various Mario games, including Paper Mario, Super Mario Sunshine, Mario and Luigi Partners in Time, Super Paper Mario, New Super Mario Bros. Wii, Super Mario Odyssey, and more. Doki Doki Panic. Yume Kojo Doki Doki Panic is a Japan-exclusive game developed by Nintendo in cooperation with Fuji Television to promote its event called Yume Kojo 87. It was later released outside of Japan in an altered form, using the name Super Mario Bros. 2, since the original Super Mario sequel, Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, was deemed too similar and difficult for players in the West. Many of the game's enemies have become staple Mario enemies, though many were not intended to be at the time of their creation. This includes Shy Guys, Birdos, Pokies, Bob-ombs, and many others. Another thing to note is that Mario, Luigi, Toad, and Princess Peach's gameplay styles have been shaped by this game. Charles Martinet. Charles Martinet is a prominent voice actor of the Mario games. He voices several major characters including Mario,
Yeah!
Luigi,
Ho
Wario,
ho!
Waluigi,
Yeah!
Baby Mario, Baby Luigi, Metal Mario,
See ya!
and Toadsworth,
Oh!
and many other male characters in the Mario series. He has also provided the voices for some characters unintentionally, such as Bowser and the Boos in Super Mario 64. Martinet crashed the auditions for Mario and was asked to do an Italian accent. His recordings left so much of an impression that they were the only ones they sent to Nintendo. L is Real 2401. One of the most famous rumors surrounding Super Mario 64 was that Luigi can be unlocked as a secret playable character. People often cite the star statue in the courtyard of the castle as proof. The statue has a plaque with small blurry characters that some people make out as L is Real 2401, which supports the idea that Luigi exists in the game. After the discovery of this plaque, many theories regarding the meaning of the L is Real message circulated, some being that the number 2401 hinted at the method of unlocking Luigi. These pretty absurd methods including running 2,401 laps around the statue or collecting 2,401 coins. In 1998, a fan sent a letter to Nintendo of America asking about the message on the statue. According to gameplay counselor Michael D. Chandler's response letter, the message had no actual meaning and was only added as a joke to trick players into thinking it had a hidden meaning. Some people claim that the L is Real 2401 message instead refers to the release date of Paper Mario, a game that Luigi does appear in, though not as a playable character. Apparently, 2401 refers to the game's supposed North American release date of February 4th, 2001, even though the actual date was one day later on February 5th. Coincidentally, due to the Giga Asset leak of pre-released Nintendo games, a prototype model of Luigi in Super Mario 64 was found and assembled on July 25th, 2020, 24 years and 1 month, hence 2401, after the game was released. Minus World. The Minus World is a glitch in the original Super Mario Bros. It is a copy of World 7-2 that cannot be finished due to the pipe at the end being glitched and spawning the player back at the start, meaning that once there, Mario is doomed to lose all his lives by running out of time. The player can get to the Minus World by going to World 1-2 and standing on the pipe that leads to the goal pole at the end of the level. Then, after doing a series of jumps, he will automatically move through the pipe and then through the wall and into the warp zone. The glitch got its name from fans because the world level screen displays as World-1. This is because of a glitch in the panels displaying the numbers. The Minus World is actually World 36-1, but the game displays a blank graphic for the number 36, so all the player can see is the -1 part, meaning -1. Shigeru Miyamoto. Shigeru Miyamoto is a video game developer, producer, artist, and currently acting representative director of Nintendo, best known for creating the creator of Mario, Donkey Kong, Zelda, Star Fox, and the Pikmin series, among others. He joined the industry as a designer for character art in 1977. He is seen as one of the most influential Nintendo and video game figures to ever exist. Infinite 1-ups with shells. In most 2D Mario games, if you repeatedly jump on a shell that bounces off a wall, you will gain score points and eventually gain extra lives. You can repeat this until you've capped the life system or time runs out. Birdo's gender. According to the North American instruction manual of Super Mario Bros. 2, he thinks he is a girl and he spits eggs from his mouth. He'd rather be called Birdetta. Throughout the official guide, Birdo is also constantly referred to as a he. In Japan, Birdo is said to be a male who believes she is a female and prefers to be called by a nickname, Kathy, rather than her real name, Catherine. In Super Smash Bros. Brawl, Birdo's trophy description describes the character as gender indeterminate and uses the pronoun it rather than gender-specific pronouns such as he or she, which has sometimes been used in other occurrences. Nintendo of America usually refers to Birdo as female. This is implied in Mario Kart 8, where she appears on the Women's of Racing Organization advertisements in N64 Royal Raceway. Nintendo of Europe, however, appears to counter this stance as the character is referred to with masculine pronouns in the British localizations of Mario Tennis and Super Mario Party. It's been settled by many people in the community that Birdo is a transgender female. The girl in the storybook is Rosalina. In the Comet Observatory in Super Mario Galaxy, you can find Rosalina reading a storybook. While never explicitly stated, it is widely thought that the story is about Rosalina. The story is about how Rosalina made it out to outer space and how she became the mother of the Lumas before the events of Super Mario Galaxy. The story goes as follows. A young Rosalina finds a Luma in a spaceship. Rosalina waits for the Luma for its mother, who is coming for him on a comet. Rosalina gets tired of waiting, so the pair fix up the spaceship and set off. Along their journey, they come across a comet. Luma gets excited, however, Luma's mother was nowhere to be seen. However, they discover star bits and supplies from which they can build a home on the comet. One night, Rosalina has a dream about her mother leaving her, promising to watch over her as the sky does. She awakens and starts crying over the grief of missing her mother, and Luma joins in. Eventually, they complete their home on the comet, though they acknowledge that it is quite large for just the two of them. One day, an apricot-colored planet appeared, and dozens of Luma came from the planet. They all shouted, my mama, as they circled Rosalina, who then became the adoptive mother of the Lumas. Many days pass, and she would find herself reminiscing about her home planet. She recounts the stories about how she would stargaze with her father on a hill and sled down the hill in the winter with her brother. Upon recounting stories of her mother, she once again breaks down, homesick and distraught. Rosalina admits that her mother isn't watching over her from the stars, but rather that she is sleeping under the tree on the hill, revealing that she passed away and is buried there. After several days of crying, the first Luma decides to thank Rosalina for her love and care by transforming into a comet and helping her propel their home back to Rosalina's home planet. Realizing that she must now take on the role of mother to all the Lumas on the comet, she rises into the role and cares for all of them as a family, reminiscing about how one day each of them will grow up and move on to make their own destinies, and how she would smile every time because that's what would make a mother happiest. Still missing her home planet, Rosalina resolves to visit the planet every century on the comet, allowing her to sleep in her favorite spot under the tree. Jumping over the flagpole in Super Mario Bros. Back when the game first came out, until the early 2000s, people had rumored that it was possible to jump over the flagpole in the original Super Mario Bros. It was discovered that a glitch could be performed where you could jump over the flagpole. The trick is about jumping to the top of a screen as the Koopa Troopa is about to fall off. The top and bottom are somehow related, so when the Koopa gets out of his shell, he will walk inside the ground. You will then have to follow the Koopa till the final part, where you'll have to then jump on the Koopa to get behind the flag. Now, behind the flagpole isn't very interesting. You just walk forever with infinitely repeating tiles. However, if the player were to disable the timer using a cheat code and continue running, they will eventually reach an area where the background and platform sprites become jumbled. Il Piantissimo. Il Piantissimo is a human disguised as a Pianta that the player must race in Super Mario Sunshine, similar to Koopa the Quick races in Super Mario 64. He can be raced in the 5th episode of Gelato Beach and Noki Bay, and the 2nd episode of Pianta Village. Il Pianto's name can be a portmanteau of the words Pianta, whom he is dressed as, and Pianissimo, which is Italian for very soft. When Mario races against Il Piantissimo, the two must head to a flag that represents the finish line. If Mario wins, he gets a shine sprite, then completes the mission. However, Mario loses a life if Il Piantissimo finishes first. With his mask removed, Il Piantissimo's face resembles those of the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time's Running Man, and by extension, the Postman from the Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. This can also be seen in gameplay by looking through the mask's eye holes. Blue coins. Blue coins are a special type of coin that first appeared in Super Mario Bros. 3 and have since appeared in many later games. They typically appear in large groups after a switch is pressed. A timer will start and the blue coins will disappear once the timer runs out. Its most famous appearance was in Super Mario Sunshine. In this game, blue coins appear as a rare, collectible type of coin. There are 240 blue coins total in the game, 30 in each of the 7 courses, 19 in Delfino Plaza, 1 in Delfino Airship, and 10 in Corona Mountain. By heading to the boathouse located in the west part of Delfino Plaza, the player can trade blue coins for 1 Shine Sprite from the raccoons running the store, meaning 24 Shine Sprites total are available using this method. They do not affect the number of yellow coins that Mario has collected. However, they restore 2 health points when collected. The player receives the option to save their game for each blue coin they have. BLJ. Backwards long jumps, or BLJs for short, are a hyperspeed glitch in Super Mario 64. The player must go to any set of long stairs and while on them, face away from them. Now the player must perform a long jump. As soon as Mario jumps, they must hold backwards on the control stick. After they land, the player has to repeatedly tap the A button and after a while, Mario has to start zooming back at the very high speeds, usually going through walls and doors. This is most famously used to get to the top of the endless stairs in Peach's castle. Normally, the game can register how fast Mario can normally move. However, when the backwards long jump is performed, Mario can build up a lot of backwards velocity, and the game does not teleport Mario properly because he reached the top too quickly. This is also the way Mario can go through walls. This glitch has become an iconic part of the Super Mario 64 community, and is heavily used for speedruns of the game. Blue Toad in New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. When New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe released, everyone thought that Blue Toad was replaced by Toadette, as he did not appear in any of the promotional material. However, on the character select screen, if you scroll to the default yellow Toad and press L or ZL, he will change to Blue Toad. Haunted Sunken Ship. This is most likely in reference to the level Sunken Ghost Ship in Super Mario World. This level serves as a gate to the Valley of Bowser. Mario has to swim through this haunted ship to make the doorway to World 7 come out of the sea. On board the ship are some bullet bills, mines, Koopas, and a massive disappearing boob buddy swarm, marking the only appearance of boos outside of Ghost House in the game, and thus the only time Yoshi can be seen with ghosts in the game. Champion's Road. Champion's Road is the final level in Super Mario 3D World. It is comparable to the level Special 8 Crown of Super Mario 3D Land, the Grandmaster Galaxy of Super Mario Galaxy 2, and the darker side of Super Mario Odyssey, designed to be the most challenging level in the game. The level is relatively lengthy and contains no checkpoints or power-ups, including the invincibility leaf. It is available as soon as its world is unlocked, which requires obtaining all green stars, stamps, and golden flags available this far. The music that plays in this level is a rendition of Gusty Garden Galaxy's theme from Super Mario Galaxy. This arrangement is also available as a track in Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, where it can be heard on the Mario Galaxy stage or any other stage related to the Mario series in Ultimate. Autumn theme in Super Mario World. The Autumn is an unlockable alteration in Super Mario World. This event changes the appearance of certain enemies and alters the color palette of the overall map of Dinosaur Land to reflect the fall season. Koopa Troopas will wear Mario Halloween masks, Piranha Plants will have a carved pumpkin where their heads usually are, and bullet bills will turn into birds. The theme is unlocked by completing the level Funky in the special zone of Super Mario World. Once you beat the level, the changes will take effect. There were rumors that beating the game a second time would unlock a winter mode, however this purely speculation and was false. The Perfect Run. The Perfect Run is the second mission of the Grandmaster Galaxy in Super Mario Galaxy 2, and is subsequently the final mission of the game. This mission can only be played after 2 conditions have been met. The player needs to have collected the Comet Medal from the previous mission, and the player needs to have 9,999 star bits stored with the Bank Toad. It is comparable to the level Special 8 Crown of Super Mario 3D Land, Champion's Road from Super Mario 3D World, and the darker side of Super Mario Odyssey. Designed to be the most challenging level in the game. Music from Super Mario Galaxy also plays during this mission, including the themes of Gusty Garden Galaxy, Good Egg Galaxy, Bowser's Galaxy Reactor, and the Comet Observatory. Special 8 Crown. Special 8 Crown is the final level of World Special 8, and is the 96th and final level in Super Mario 3D Land. It contains no star medals. It is only unlocked after obtaining 5 stars on the save file, and is designed to be the most difficult level in the game, similar to the Perfect Run from Super Mario Galaxy 2, Champion's Row from Super Mario 3D World, and the Darker Side from Super Mario Odyssey. Super Mario Galaxy, 121st star. This is the 121st and true final star in Super Mario Galaxy, found in the Grand Finale Galaxy. To unlock it, you must collect all 120 stars and defeat Bowser with both Mario and Luigi. Once you do, you can access this galaxy from the Planet of Trials in the center. Just speak to the Luma to launch off to the galaxy. You're Mr. Gay. This refers to the logo for Super Mario Galaxy. On the logo, some letters of the logo contain a small twinkle. If these letters are singled out and read together, the result is, You're Mr. Gay, leading some to suggest that the twinkles may be a hidden message created by the logo artist. To add more to this rabbit hole, in Super Mario Galaxy 2's logos, the sparkles are still present, but have been rearranged. They now spell out U-R-M-I-A-Y, although this can be interpreted as, yeah, I am, are you, if read backwards. It is most likely that these logos simply arrange the twinkles to be aesthetically pleasing, with any messages being unintentional. But, you never know. New Super Mario Bros. Walkthrough Part 22. This is referring to a 20-second part of a New Super Mario Bros. Gameplay series, in which this video had received the Guinness World Record for the most viewed gameplay walkthrough video on YouTube. This video was uploaded June 8th of 2008. At the time of writing this, the video has gained 35,978,146 views. Aside from that, it's just a standard gameplay video. March 31st, 2021. March 31st, 2021 has become a meme within the Nintendo community and has been labeled Mario's Death Day. This is the result of March 31st, 2021 officially marking the end of Mario's 35th anniversary, which will make Super Mario 3D All-Stars and Super Mario Bros. 35 unavailable to buy or download. Hidden Coin Stacks. Coin stacks first appeared in New Super Mario Bros. 2, although only on the title screen. They first appeared as collectible items in Super Mario 3D World. Coin stacks are ordinary coins that are stacked up in piles that each have different amounts. The coins act as they normally do, giving it extra life for collecting 100 of them. Coin stacks can be found in hidden areas of levels, such as the underground area of Really Rolling Hills. Coin stacks reappear in Captain Toad Treasure Tracker and Super Mario Odyssey, acting as they did in 3D World. Globe plays songs. This is about the globe on the Odyssey in Super Mario Odyssey. If you jump on the globe will start playing a music box rendition of Jump Up Superstar. Waluigi in Super Mario 64 DS. Similar to allegations of an unlockable Luigi in Super Mario 64, rumors surfaced about unlocking Waluigi as a playable character in Super Mario 64 DS. As the other three plumbers, Mario, Luigi, and Wario were unlockable, Waluigi's absence seemed suspicious to many fans. While not nearly as popular as the L is real, these rumors were still fairly popular for a while, thanks to fake leaks and doctored images. One rumor claimed that you would unlock Waluigi upon 100%ing completing the game. The player would need to collect every Power Star and unlock every minigame. The rumor then claims that by defeating Bowser and reaching the top of Princess Peach's castle, Waluigi can be found and talking to him would unlock him. This was quickly debunked, as Waluigi does not appear on the top of the castle after meeting these conditions. However, the rumor that gained the most notoriety was purple prizes. In 2005, DeviantArt user King Bowser Koopa posted an image scan of an article titled Purple Prizes and named the submission Waluigi in Super Mario 64 DS. This article suggests that Waluigi can be unlocked in the game and provides hints toward unlocking him, ultimately sending the player on a wild goose chase. Find all the stars to be the fastest foot racer in the land. Afterward, a secret switch will reveal my door. All that reveals is a challenge for the Rabbit King for its key. Many sources claim that this article was featured on IGN or an issue of Nintendo Power. This article featured a custom 3D model of Waluigi placed in various game locations, such as Bob-omb Battlefield, Cool Cool Mountain, and the Castle Grounds. According to this article, Waluigi had springy jumps, and his Power Flower transformation would be the fast-moving, warp-speed Waluigi. Players interpreted this article's vague hints in various ways to try and unlock Waluigi, to no avail. 2 days after posting this image, King Bowser Koopa revealed that the image was merely an April Fool's joke. Super Mario Galaxy More. After Nintendo completed Super Mario Galaxy, Shigeru Miyamoto approached the development team and suggested that a follow-up should be produced. The game was originally planned to do just variations on the original game's planet and then call the game Super Mario Galaxy More. It was supposed to be more of an expansion on the original than a new game. Gold Train. World 5-Train, often dubbed the Golden Express, is a level in Super Mario 3D World. It can be accessed by going through the warp pipe in front of World 5's King Kathunk Castle. Go through the pipe and you will emerge on a small island with 3 other pipes. If you enter the top one, you'll get to another small island with the Gold Train stage. The level itself is just a gold train with many coin stacks, coin rays, and other coin-related things. Hell Valley Sky Trees. The Hell Valley Sky Trees are an urban legend revolving around Super Mario Galaxy 2. In Shiverburn Galaxy, players can enter at any point in first-person mode and look up in the background. Visible on top of the mountainous landscape that makes up the skybox are 3 strange figures. A tall figure standing next to a short one, and another small figure a short distance away. These figures are visible from any point in the level, but they never move and can never be interacted with. Not only that, but the game never acknowledges their presence. They appear as large, lanky black creatures with creepy hole-looking eyes. Why they are creepily observing you is just unknown. They've been theorized to be many things, but the most believable theory are that they are Kodima, tree spirits from Japanese folklore that very much resemble the Hell Valley Sky Trees. A person by the name of Gur Tacos is notable for having hacked into the game's files and discovered the texture files for the 3 figures. The model for the mountain background is called Beyond Hell Valley Sky, and the texture for the figures themselves are called Hell Valley Sky Tree. So Long, Gay Bowser. During several boss fights of Super Mario 64, Mario must grab Bowser by the tail and spin him around several times before tossing him into a bomb. With each toss, Mario can be heard saying, "So long, King Bowser," in an Italian accent, which many have misheard the line as, "So long, Gay Bowser." This line has become a meme in the Super Mario 64 community, and is a notable piece of Mario 64's presence on the internet. Raccoon Mario and Super Mario World Beta. In the media we have from the beta of Super Mario World, Raccoon Mario can be seen in place of Cape Mario. Raccoon Mario is either a placeholder for the eventual Cape Feather power-up, or the concept of Cape Mario never came to fruition until much later in development. For a time, the leaf and resulting Raccoon Mario may have been the default flying power-up for Mario in the game. There are also SNES test cartridges, which among other things, include leftover graphics from an early build of Super Mario World. These cartridges reveal Mario's early sprites, with the Super Leaf equipped. Red Yoshi in New Super Mario Bros. Wii. Red Yoshis were set to appear in New Super Mario Bros. Wii. They were even featured in early promotional material for the game. However, when the final game came out, they were replaced with pink Yoshis. It's even stranger because Super Mario World had red Yoshis, but not pink Yoshis. This game has every color of Yoshi from Super Mario World, but not the red ones. Daisy was created by Miyamoto's mentor. This is in reference to Shigeru Miyamoto's mentor, Gunpei Yokoi. Unlike the rest of the Mario series, Super Mario Land was not developed by Miyamoto, but by Yokoi. He created the game, and as this game is the first appearance of Princess Daisy, this would mean he created Daisy as well. Inactive Mega Leg. This is in reference to a glitch involving Mega Leg from Super Mario Galaxy. When the player lands on the first planet, they must find the glass cage containing the launch star and triple jump off of it. The second jump must land on top of the glass cage. Then the player should triple jump off the glass cage and spin at the highest point of the jump. If successful, the player will fall to Mega Leg's moon, but it will not be activated, so the player can run all over Mega Leg, but the bullet bills will not be fired and the cogwheels will not move. However, if the player goes to the point where they have landed if they have used the launch star, the cutscene will play and Mega Leg will be activated. Mario and Friends in Kirby Superstar. In Kirby Superstar, when you are fighting in a ring, you will see Mario, Luigi, Birdo, and Toad cheering you on. In its remake on the DS, while fighting King Dedede in the wrestling ring, you can see Mario, Luigi, Peach, Wario, and 2 Toads in the audience. Starman Fort. Early in the development of Super Mario Galaxy, a planet known as Starman Fort was to be included in the game. The planet was composed of a large castle-like structure, as well as a construction zone and a snowy area. The zone contained a boss that is referred to as Boss Crab. It is thought that this boss is an early version of Mega Leg. Shindo Pak Tayo. Shindo Pak Tayo, or Rumble Pack compatible in English, is a version of Super Mario 64 released in Japan on July 18, 1997, that includes Rumble Pack support. This game is the same as the international release of the game, as it retains all the glitch fixes as well as graphical and sound changes. The game was notorious for fixing the backwards long jump glitch and removing the "So long, Gay Bowser" line.
저런 Bowser. Bye-bye.
This version was released on the Virtual Console on Wii in Japan on December 2nd, 2006, then on the Wii U in April 8th of 2015, and would later be used in Super Mario 3D All-Stars. Mario enemies in Link's Awakening. In The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, Goombas, Piranha Plants, Chain Chomps, and even Thwomps appear in several dungeons. They behave very similarly to their Mario counterparts in these areas. Shigeru Miyamoto, who created the Zelda series, also created the Mario series, allowing both series to use characters from the other's universe. 4-4 Ghost. This is in reference to the level 4-4 in Super Mario 3D Land. At the end of the level, if you stand by the fence behind the flagpole and wait for a number of seconds, a ghostly figure will appear slowly out of the background. Once enough time passes, it will unexpectedly open its mouth wide and flash, while fading out at the same time. The spirit closely resembles the Hell Valley Sky Trees from Shiverburn Galaxy in Super Mario Galaxy 2. Super Mario 128. Super Mario 128 is the name of a series of projects by Nintendo to create a sequel to Super Mario 64, much like the cancelled game Super Mario 64 2, which is different, which we'll get to later. It was first shown as a tech demo at Space World 2000. The project experimented with new technology and ideas to incorporate into later games. A demo of the project was released by Nintendo. The demo featured a giant 3D sprite of Mario, and then one by one pixel box would move around and become a Mario. This would repeat until the 128 Marios were on screen at once. They would run around, push each other, until the plane they were on would reset and turn into a pizza. And then all the Marios would fall off and the demo would reset. Other features of the demo included use of rapid generation, later used in Pikmin, and sphere walking, later used in The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess and Super Mario Galaxy. During his keynote speech at the Game Developers Conference in 2007, Shigeru Miyamoto revealed what actually happened to Super Mario 128. What happened to Mario 128? Said Miyamoto at the end of his keynote. Most of you already played it. The screen then transitioned from Mario 128 to Pikmin. Infinite Flutter. This is in reference to a glitch in Super Mario Galaxy 2. With this glitch, as long as you have Yoshi, you can go any place in any level for a long period of time. This glitch can be frustrating to exploit, but once you master it, it's very useful. To perform this glitch, you will first need Yoshi. Then you will start by performing a basic flutter jump. After that, you need to crouch, then quickly release Z and flutter again. You can perform this glitch until you mess up. If you do, you will either fall on a platform or to your demise. Bowser's Fury Alt Skins. This refers to how you earn new skins for Plessie, Bowser Jr., and Cat Mario after reaching certain milestones in Bowser's Fury. For example, Bowser Jr. resembles Meowser after getting all 100 cat shines. New Super Mario Bros. 2 DLC. Downloadable content was later released for New Super Mario Bros. 2. It was announced in a Nintendo Direct Mini showcasing their 3 downloadable Coin Rush course packs and their price tags along with the release dates. The downloadable packs are available for purchase on the in-game shop, available for $2.50 in Canada and America. This game is both the first Mario game and also the first Nintendo game overall to feature standard downloadable add-on content. 4 sets of DLC packs have been released, with 10 course packs having been released in total. The final set of course packs was released on December 20th, 2012. These courses were known for being more difficult than the actual game. 1-3 UFO. In level 1-3 in Super Mario 3D Land, there are a pair of binoculars you can look at in the beginning of the level. If you look up, you'll be able to see a white UFO flying by before disappearing, to never be acknowledged in the game again. Super Mario Bros. 3 in The Wizard. The Wizard is a film directed by Todd Holland, released by Universal Studios on December 15th, 1989, that stars Luke Edwards, Fred Savage, and Jenny Lewis. The movie featured several cameos and direct references to Nintendo-related products, as well as many video games released for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Due to this movie has been called a commercial for Nintendo, but has nevertheless gained a cult following. It is also notable for being the first introduction of Super Mario Bros. 3 to North American audiences, and the game is featured prominently in the climax of the film. The film received lukewarm reviews from critics. Multiple newspapers critics labeled it as a feature-length commercial for Universal Studios Hollywood and Nintendo. Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times called the film a cynical exploitation film with a lot of commercial plugs, and insanely overwritten and ineptly filmed. He later called it one of the worst films of 1989. It That Really You. After beating the story mode of Super Mario 64, you unlock the cannon outside and can launch to the roof of Peach's castle. Once there, you can talk to Yoshi, and he will talk about how he hasn't seen him in a while. However, he starts off his speech with a grammatical error. He was intended to say, "Mario, is that really you? It's been so long since our last adventure." But in the final game, he says, "Mario, it that really you?" This error surprisingly still appears in Super Mario 3D All-Stars. Secret Challenge Mode. Challenge Mode is a harder mode in New Super Mario Bros. It has a few different block locations and does not allow the player to scroll the screen backwards, similar to the original Mario games. Challenge Mode can be accessed in the start menu after finishing the game and pressing the following buttons: L, R, X, X, Y, Y. Double Bombless. Double Bombless is a speedrunning strategy for New Super Mario Bros. Wii. In the level World 8 Airship, at the end of the level, there is a fight with Bowser Jr., in which he is in a clown car. As opposed to the ground pounding the floor so Jr.'s bombs bounce back at him, you use the propeller suit to ground pound him twice. It's a difficult trick, but certainly not impossible. First Shine in Bianco Hills is optional. This refers to how you're able to skip the first shine in Bianco Hills, despite the game never notifying you of this. It's the only non-bonus shine in the game that you can skip without glitches. Rocket Storage. This is in reference to a trick in Super Mario Sunshine, when you have the rocket nozzle and charge it up. Before it fires, you jump so it's timed that you'll hit the ground around the time it would normally launch you in the air. If done correctly, it'll fire, but you'll stay on the ground. However, the rocket jump is still stored, so if you sidestep from this point off a ledge, it'll fire as you walk off, sending you even higher than you normally go. You can even charge up a second jump as you go flying, allow you to gain even more height. Hammer Suit Slide Glitch. In Super Mario Bros. 3, when you crouch with the hammer suit equipped, you hide in the shell. However, if you equip the hammer suit while in the middle of doing a sliding animation, a rare sprite can be seen where Hammer Mario is sliding. Golden Raccoon Mario Statue. After collecting 9,999,999 coins in New Super Mario Bros. 2, a golden statue of Raccoon Mario can be seen on the title screen, alongside all the coins you've collected. Tramplin Stew. Tramplin Stews are beta enemies that were originally planned to appear in Super Mario Sunshine. They were featured in the Space World trailer but never made it to the final release. However, its files still exist in the final game. Their only attack was to run into the player or simply drop a Swoopin' Stew or a Strollin' Stew. However, no goop was found near a Tramplin Stew for a Swoopin' Stew to occur. Star Toads. This is in reference to the fact that in an early demo of Super Mario Galaxy, Lumas were actually just toads with stars on their heads instead of spots, hence the name Star Toads. Watermelons with 9,999 star bits. In Super Mario Galaxy and Super Mario Galaxy 2, watermelons will appear when the player corrects 9,999 star bits. After doing so, they will replace all the coconuts found in the game. A watermelon also appears in the deep dark galaxy inside the Watermelon Planet. Fury Bowser resembles Black Bowser. This refers to the fact that Fury Bowser from Bowser's Fury looks very similar to Black Bowser. For those who aren't aware, Black Bowser is the final boss and antagonist of Paper Mario Color Splash. Bowser accidentally created black paint in the Prisma Fountain and then the black paint had possessed him. Both he and Fury Bowser are quite similar in color. However, Fury Bowser has red hair, whereas Black Bowser does not. Black Bowser also looks like Bowser is just covered in paint, whereas Fury Bowser looks like he is just colored black. Yoshi plan for Super Mario Bros. This is quite well known, so I'm not sure why it's this low. Nevertheless, this is referring to the fact that Yoshi, or some kind of rideable dinosaur, was planned for Super Mario Bros. You've most likely seen this sketch by Shigeru Miyamoto of 8-bit Mario riding a dinosaur. Mario states he wanted to add a rideable companion, but couldn't due to the NES's hardware restraints. So, Miyamoto would have to wait 5 years until Super Mario World to add in the lovable dinosaur. A strange old man in a white coat. This is a line spoken by Bowser Jr. in Super Mario Sunshine.
A strange old man in a white coat gave it to me.
This is in reference to Professor E. Gadd, a character from the Luigi's Mansion series, who has slowly appeared in Mario titles. Chicken Suit. This is in reference to a planned but cut power-up for New Super Mario Bros. Wii. The only piece of media we have depicting the power-up is this one piece of concept art. We don't know its purpose or effects on the characters who use it. The idea was eventually changed into the penguin suit, and they both look visually similar, with both of them being animal suits with their face exposed. The chicken suit does however appear in Volume 44 of Super Mario Kun. the Japanese manga series which we had previously talked about. He just looked like a Larry. When Super Mario Bros. 3 was being created, the Koopalings weren't given names, and it stayed that way up until the release of the game in Japan. In Japan, the game or the manual doesn't state their names. Enter Dov Brooks, who was a localizer for Nintendo of America. He would help localize games by improving the writing quality of basic Japanese to English translations. When Brooke had seen the Koopalings didn't have any names, he decided to give them some. Due to Brooks' love of music, he named them after famous singers. Roy Koopa was named after American rock and roll singer Roy Orbison, due to his sunglasses. Morton Koopa Jr. was named after American talk show host Morton Downey Jr. because he thought he looked like a loudmouth. Ludwig von Koopa was named after composer Ludwig von Beethoven because he thought their hairstyles looked similar. Wendy O. Koopa was named after punk rock singer Wendy O. Williams. Lemmy Koopa was named after the lead singer of the metal band Motorhead, Lemmy Kilmister. Iggy Koopa was named after the punk rock singer Iggy Pop. And finally, there was this guy, who he named Larry. He had no reason. He said in interviews that he just looked like a Larry. Ice Mario and Flying Mario in Super Mario Galaxy 2. This refers to how the ice and flying powers would have returned in Super Mario Galaxy 2. However, they sadly did not appear in the final game. However, if you use hacks, you can reinsert them in the game. Purple Rabbit. This is once again a reference to Waluigi being in Super Mario 64 DS. Beta screenshots of Super Mario 64 DS show that a purple rabbit existed in early versions, but were removed for the final game. In the game, each character has rabbits unique to them. Yoshi's are yellow, Mario's are red, Luigi's are green, and Wario's are orange. So it makes sense that the purple rabbit would be Waluigi's. Some fans assume that catching this bunny would give the player a key to a Waluigi door, unlocking him as a playable character. However, as I mentioned, there is no such rabbit color in the final game, and it is not certain what the purple rabbit would have done. Interestingly, one of the beta purple rabbits can be found on page 30 of the official Super Mario 64 DS instruction book. The placement of the image implies that it would have unlocked minigames like the other rabbits. Rosalina's early design. First appearing in Super Mario Galaxy, Rosalina used to have a vastly different design. Her hair was done up in a circular way, revealing both her eyes, and her dress more resembled that of Peach's. I do prefer her current design, but this one is certainly interesting. New Super Mario Bros. Co-op multiplayer. This is referring to the beta and E3 trailers of New Super Mario Bros. There is a planned multiplayer mode between Mario and Luigi where they would cooperate to finish a level, similar to the online mode in New Super Mario Bros. 2. Scrapped FLUDD nozzles. During the development of Super Mario Sunshine, it was stated that FLUDD was planned to feature a water gun nozzle, but the idea was scrapped due to a controversy in the United States at the time. It is unknown what this controversy was, however. Super Mario 64 2. Super Mario 64 2 was a planned project by Nintendo to make a direct sequel to Super Mario 64. This rumored expansion and sequel to Super Mario 64, called Super Mario 64 2, was said to be developed for the Nintendo 64 disk drive, but was cancelled due to the 64DD's commercial failure. Miyamoto mentioned at E3's August 1997 convention that he was just getting started on the project. At Space World in November of 1997, Miyamoto added, "We haven't decided whether it's two-player yet. We are currently working with a system where Mario and Luigi can coexist, and they are both controllable by the player. But we will decide more game elements when we finish everything about Zelda." We're in the middle of preparing Mario 64 2 for the release on the 64DD. I'd like to take advantage of the 64DD's ability to store information. As of now, Luigi's a full part of the game, but we haven't started thinking about two-player gameplay with Mario and Luigi yet. We'll tackle that once we got the system ironed out. We figured out the processing power issues, so we could do it if we tried. In November 1999, Miyamoto said, "Well, for over a year now at my desk, a prototype program of Mario and Luigi has been running around on my monitor. We've been thinking about the game, and it may be something that we can work on for a completely new game system." The game had only one level made for it. Miyamoto claimed that multiplayer functionality was the first aspect of the game that he wanted to include. Miyamoto had considered the two next frontiers of the Super Mario series to be a gameplay mechanic of walking on a rotating sphere, and coincidentally, a setting in space. This sphere walking in space theme would later become Super Mario Galaxy. Chocolate Factory level. The Chocolate Factory level is an urban legend revolving around Super Mario Bros. In one of his How to Win a Nintendo Game guidebooks, author Jeff Rovin mentioned that he heard rumors of a secret level hidden in the game, a level taking place in a chocolate factory. He claimed that he had no idea where or how to access it, but the suggestion of a secret level was all fans needed to start digging through the game to find it. As it turns out, the myth was nothing more than a prank on Rovin's part. Mega Mushroom in New Super Mario Bros. Wii. New Super Mario Bros. Wii was originally going to have the Mega Mushroom power-up returned from the previous game. We know this because in the files of New Super Mario Bros. Wii, there exists a model of a cracked pipe just like the ones in New Super Mario Bros. It would have transformed the player into a Mega Mario. However, this caused a problem in multiplayer because the player who used it would be able to destroy everything while also taking up a big part of the screen. That would limit other players' movement as the screen would get bigger for the player's size increase to be seen. Every other player would have been even smaller, which would have been hard and not fun to control, so ultimately the Mega Mushroom was removed. Centaur power-up. While developing Super Mario Bros. 3, the designers wanted to have a folklore creature power-up, so they were planning to add a power-up based on a centaur. For those who aren't aware, a centaur is a half-man, half-horse creature. The power-up, however, was replaced with another folklore animal, being the tanuki. Boo's laugh is Bowser's laugh sped up. Like we previously mentioned, Charles Martinet unintentionally voiced these characters in Super Mario 64. The reason being that Martinet has done loads of voice work. He has also done voice acting for sound libraries. For those who aren't aware, sound libraries are a group of sound effects that people can use for free or for a small fee to put in their work. The original voice clip used was of Charles Martinet laughing from a sound library. It was sped up for Boo's laugh and Bowser's laugh. S4-1 exploit. This is referring to a glitch in the level S4-1 from Super Mario 3D Land. You activate the moving platform at the beginning of the stage and quickly stand on the edge of the platform on the nearest side. What's supposed to happen is enemies will spawn on the platform as Mario moves through the stage, but by standing on the edge, you'll never enter the trigger for the enemies to spawn, and so the platform is empty. This can continue all the way up to the piranha plants appear midway through. Giga Mushroom. The Giga Mushroom is an unused power-up in Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. It would have made Mario giant, like the Giga Bell, except he wouldn't have had the cat suit or its abilities. He would just be Mega Mario. Which would make sense because the model for the Giga Mushroom was just an angry Mega Mushroom with a red aesthetic. The Mystery Goomba. This is referring to a Goomba in the level Bowser in the Sky from Super Mario 64. There is a trio of Goombas at the end of the level. However, as soon as they load in, one of the Goombas spawns off the edge. He spawns on the death barrier for 1 frame before disappearing. The Mystery Goomba was found by Pen and Koic 2012, who's a very influential figure in the Super Mario 64 community. In Super Mario 64, when you kill a Goomba, they produce a coin, and because you can't kill this Goomba, its coin has been deemed impossible. Isle Delfino on Globe. Within the promotional material for Super Mario Odyssey, there is an image of a map, and on the lower left of the map is what appears to be Isle Delfino. However, Isle Delfino does not appear on the map in the final game. Eely Mouth Stomach. This is in reference to the giant eel boss in Noki City from Super Mario Sunshine. The eel has its esophagus and stomach model with a significant amount of polygons, meaning there was work put into it. Even though one of its attacks involves swallowing Mario, the camera never follows him inside, so the insides are never seen. It is unknown why the inside was so detailed. It's possible that he would have gone inside him for a specific reason, but that's just speculation. The Impossible Coin. In October 2016, Pen and Koic 2012 once again discovered an impossible coin in Tiny Huge Island. The enlarged version of the course was found to have a line of 4 coins, even though all other lines of coins in Super Mario 64 contained 5 coins. He showed that there was indeed a 5th coin that activates a failsafe that no other coin in the game activates, causing it to be immediately removed from play, leaving only 4 coins in the line. Rosalina with a guitar. This refers to some concept art for Rosalina in Super Mario Odyssey. This concept art depicts her in jeans and a t-shirt and holding a guitar. This is very strange as this does not fit Rosalina's normal attire of a regal dress with teals and blues. This implies that at one point she may have been one of the musicians in New Donk City. Human in Super Mario Sunshine. In the first trailer of Super Mario Sunshine shown in 2001, a realistically proportioned human girl appears for a brief moment as Mario runs past. This character must have been quickly scrapped as no other Sunshine beta content showed any trace of this character. Since Shigeru Miyamoto has stated that Super Mario Odyssey is a continuation of gameplay ideas from Sunshine, the realistic human shown in Odyssey may be an attempt to bring back this concept. Kug. Kug is an unused placeholder enemy in Super Mario Sunshine. He somewhat resembles a paper Goomba with blue shoes. Apparently, he was some sort of joke among the developers. However, Kug can be seen underneath the map of Peanut Park in Episode 8 for whatever reason. If you try to jump on him, he will simply electrocute you. Super Tanuki Skin 2D. After the release of Super Mario 3D Land, the animal rights group People for Ethical Treatment of Animals, otherwise known as PETA, created a website entitled Mario Kills Tanuki, along with an accompanying flash game to promote their anti-fur campaign about the live skinning of raccoon dogs, or tanukis. The game, entitled Super Tanuki Skin 2D, stars the character of a tanuki, a skinless animal who is chasing Mario to get his skin back. The game has the player dodge obstacles to catch up to Mario, who is wearing his skin and flying ahead of the tanuki. When the player wins a game, a message reads, "Fuck you, Mario, this skin belongs to an animal." This resulted in strong backlash from Nintendo, who released a statement concerning the issue. Mario often takes the appearance of certain animals and objects in his games. These have included a frog, a penguin, a balloon, and even a metallic version of himself. These lighthearted and whimsical transformations give Mario different abilities and make his games fun to play. The different forms that Mario takes makes no statement beyond the games themselves. A spokesperson from PETA later claimed that their allegations were tongue-in-cheek, a fun way to call attention to a serious issue, that these raccoon dogs were skinned alive for their fur. However, the website remained unchanged and is still currently active. The game and the stunt were widely criticized for being absurd and not well researched. Hidden Train in Toy Time Galaxy. In the level Toy Time Galaxy from Super Mario Galaxy, as Mario is launched toward the starting planet, an inaccessible train can be seen passing by. By hacking, it is shown that this train has collision, even though the player cannot normally get to it, most likely meaning that the train was a scrap part of the touchable map, and would have been used where Mario can make contact with it. Blarg in Super Mario 64. First appearing in Super Mario World, Blargs are lava creatures that try to eat Mario. Blargs were originally going to appear in Super Mario 64 as enemies in Lethal Lava Land, Bowser in the Fire Sea, and for some reason, wing Mario over the rainbow, as they were found in the game's coding. If you use cheat codes, the player can make them appear on the level, being fully functional and with animations, a hitbox, and a complete model, aside from the lack of eyes. Laser Suit. The Laser Suit legend is an urban legend revolving around a hidden power-up in Super Mario World. Sometime in late 2006, a video surfaced on YouTube supposedly showing an alternate exit in the game's top secret area level. This exit involved entering an invisible warp pipe between the two item blocks on the left side of the top secret area. Going through this pipe would lead to a secret level called ? Which contained a tip block containing a congratulatory note from Nintendo and the secret Laser Suit. The Laser Suit had all the power-ups of the Cape Feather, as well as the ability to fire lasers. In November of 2006, it was revealed that the video was a hoax, a hack made by the user K Phoenix, who made it in order to see who would be fooled by it. Super Mario 64 Temporary. A demo was found of Super Mario 64 where it was labeled as Super Mario 64 Temporary. This implies that at one point there was going to be a different title for the game, but it got scrapped. Toad under Delfino Plaza. In Delfino Plaza from Super Mario Sunshine, there is a yellow toad present underneath the map, running around near the blue coin. He's below the map because when the map is loaded, he runs and falls into the water, which makes him cross the ground. This oversight was fixed in the Europe/Australian release. Yellow Cap Switch. The yellow cap switch is an unused object in Super Mario 64. There are only 3 switches encountered in gameplay, red, green, and blue, corresponding to the wing cap, metal cap, and vanish cap respectively. In the game's files, however, there is a 4th switch, which is yellow. A transparent version of the yellow box is associated with it in the files. According to the decompilation of Super Mario 64, when the yellow cap switch would be activated, they were intended to give the player a Koopa shell. The usage of the yellow box was kept in the final game for a few of them being used for stars and coins. Red coins in a bottle book. This refers to the Noki Bay book in Super Mario Sunshine. The book is an oddly placed object found in the mission Red Coins in a Bottle. The book is placed inside a rock formation at the beginning of the titular bottle, behind a door that does not open. Glitches allow both Mario and the camera to clip inside these rocks and view the secret book. The common theory is that an early version of the game had a mission where Mario would retrieve the book and bring it to the Noki Elder for a shine sprite. Hacking to reach the book reveals that it has no collision and cannot be interacted with. The textures of the book are similarly rumored to include a message from Shigeru Miyamoto written in Japanese, which would apparently say, "You have no life, signed Shigeru Miyamoto." However, this sounds quite fabricated due to the uncharacteristically insulting tone of the message, as well as the fact that the textures relevant to the book don't appear to be easily accessible online. Playable Peach and Wario in New Super Mario Bros. Wii. This refers to how supposedly in 2 separate interviews, Miyamoto said that Peach and Wario were planned to appear as playable characters in New Super Mario Bros. Wii. He said, however, that Peach was cut due to difficulties animating her dress, and weirdly, Wario was cut due to difficulties making a way for him to fart. Dying in the credits of Super Mario Galaxy 2. The end credits of Super Mario Galaxy 2 are unique because they're actually playable. It's possible to control Mario as the developer names ticks by, allowing him to explore smaller environments based on levels from the game. A bee mushroom power-up will also appear in one of these playable scenes. Using the power-up to leave the area causes an instant death. It also causes the "too bad" and "the end" messages to show up at the same time. Bananas above Peanut Park. This is in reference to some bananas floating in mid-air high above the Peanut Park map from Super Mario Sunshine. Similar to how Cug can only be found in the 8th mission of Peanut Park, these bananas can only be found in the 4th mission. You cannot get up to these bananas without using cheats. It is unknown why it was placed here or what its purpose was. Test 11. This refers to an unused map in the code of Super Mario Sunshine. The map is named Test 11 and can be accessed in the US and European versions with cheat codes. The textures it uses are the same as test maps from various other games, including The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker. It contains various objects and terrain, including the unused soccer objects and the Hinokuri enemy. The files also contain an early sky model, though it is not used in the scene. Strangely, an ineffective layer of the unused quicksand goop is present fairly high above the terrain, which only appears as bubbles when Mario is nearby. The test map was removed in the Japanese version, and some of the unused objects featured in the map were removed or replaced in the European version. Blue Gooper Blooper. In an early screenshot from Super Mario Sunshine, the Gooper Blooper was blue instead of white. I assume this was changed to match the color of regular bloopers, and because it may have been difficult to see the ink on his face, especially for colorblind people. This screenshot even shows him in a location in which he never appears in the final game. In the final game, he only appears in Noki Bay, the market in Rico Harbor, and the helipad in Rico Harbor. However, this screenshot shows that he was originally going to appear on the bridges in Rico Harbor, either in addition to or instead of the final game's locations. Double cherry concept came from a mistake by a developer. This refers to how the double cherry power-up from Super Mario 3D World was inspired by a coding mistake. We know this because it was revealed in an Iwata Asks interview. We discovered that a staff member made a mistake with the placement tool and put in 2-player Marios. When we saw that, we thought it was great, so we went ahead and put that in the game. Scrupulous Fingor. This is referring to a supposed character appearing in New Super Mario Bros. In a tweet by Cut and Obscure Video Game Content, they claim that a mysterious character known only as Scrupulous_Fingor can be found in the files of the game, potentially as a cut enemy. They also claim that when the enemy was brought up to Miyamoto, he got noticeably upset. The tweet contained a screenshot in-game and a photo of his model. Other people started tweeting about Scrupulous Fingor being in the code of other games, such as Super Mario 64 DS, Paper Mario Color Splash, and Super Mario Advance 4. However, Scrupulous Fingor is not a real character and was simply an internet hoax. Beta Delfino Plaza during the flood. When you beat Shadow Mario in every stage, you're sent to a flooded version of Delfino Plaza. When playing normally, you're supposed to chase Shadow Mario into Corona Mountain from here, but if you take the time to explore the map, things are a bit different from the normal map. Some players think that this version of Delfino Plaza is actually from a beta build of the game. There's bad collision detection, weird texture glitches, and a differently placed manholes. However, take this with a grain of salt, as this is all just speculation. I guess Bowser is on vacation. This refers to a line said by the character Gex in the game Gex Enter the Gecko. Interestingly enough, the line only appears to be in the PlayStation version of the game, despite the game also being on the Nintendo 64. Rejected McDonald's sponsorship. Back in the late 80s, Yoichi Kotabe was an animation artist who was brought in to redesign the Mario cast. When the fast food chain McDonald's caught wind of this information, they wanted to make a sponsorship deal with Nintendo. They felt that Mario's original M on his hat looked very similar to their golden arches, and wanted the M to be changed to their logo. It's safe to say that this sponsorship didn't happen, as Mario's M was made to be more angular than round. Luigi Blue Cap. Luigi's blue cap refers to how in the Japanese anime movie Super Mario Bros. The Great Mission to Rescue Princess Peach, Luigi was depicted wearing a blue cap instead of a green one. This was before Luigi's modern colors were decided. He also wore a yellow shirt instead of a green one. What makes the blue cap so notable is how it was in both the movie and was on the box art. Interestingly enough, Luigi has a Smash Bros. Alt resembling his outfit here. The shirt is greener than yellow, but it's still most likely a reference. Orange/S Mario. Orange/S Mario refers to an unused graphic in Super Mario 3D World. The graphic is of Mario wearing an orange cap and black overalls, and are accompanied by an orange S. It is unknown what purpose these graphics were meant to serve. They may have been placeholders, but you'll never know. Super Mario Odyssey prototype. In a Fire Emblem Warriors direct feed video done by the YouTube channel GameXplain, there was a Super Mario Odyssey prototype shown for a few seconds at the start of the video. It had an early logo for the Switch menu and even had a build date in its title. There was no gameplay shown, so it's unknown how GameXplain acquired this build and how finished the game was in this state. It can be assumed that Nintendo sent GameXplain this build for review, but that is just speculation. Mario and Kirby Masterpiece OVA. Mario and Kirby Masterpiece is an educational game only released in Japan and stars Mario and Kirby both on their own separate adventures. It is aimed at teaching young children kanji/Chinese characters. Due to its obscurity, copies of the film can be extremely hard to find, especially outside of Japan. It was released for VHS in 1995 by HAL Laboratory, the studio behind Kirby. Mario's story starts when the treasure of a school has been stolen by Wario. Princess Peach informs Mario of this incident and he goes looking for him. Mario turns into Rabbit Mario and then he tracks down Wario and defeats him, whose plane tumbles down to the ground. The treasure was rescued, though Mario is shocked because the treasure was revealed to be only school books. Kirby's story starts when he finds a puppy who has lost his mother. Kirby finds out that the dog's mother has been captured by King Dedede and is now trapped in Castle Dedede. After being told by the moon that King Dedede was the culprit, Kirby searches for him and finds out that the king was only taking care of the mother's hurt paw. With a sigh, Kirby heads back home. Impossible Rocket Nozzle. This is referring to a hidden rocket nozzle box inside the East Bell Tower in Delfina Plaza from Super Mario Sunshine. If you stand on the first 10 ledge of the tower, face the Grand Pianta statue, press Y to enter first person mode, and look up, you'll be able to see the nozzle box. World S-8 uses an instrumental version of the Mario Drawing Song. For those who aren't aware, the Mario Drawing Song is an animation song made using the Flipnote Studio game for the Nintendo DS. It was created and released by Nintendo to promote a Mario-themed competition on the application. It uses chiptune instruments and sound effects from the games while using fun and easy-to-understand lyrics on how to draw a Mario face. The song's melody was used in World Special 8's theme from Super Mario 3D Land. This is the only World 8 theme in the series to have a happy and unthreatening sound. Iggy uses Larry's hair in Super Mario World. In Super Mario World, Iggy Koopa's hair is slicked back. However, this is an oversight due to Iggy's mistakenly using a hair graphical tile from Larry's hair. Here's what his hair was supposed to look like. In his appearance in the Super Mario World game style of Super Mario Maker 2, his hair is based on the unused correct hair. Super Hornio Brothers. Super Hornio Brothers is a two-part hexagonal parody of the Super Mario series, starring Ron Jeremy, released in 1993. The film features a man named Squeegee Hornio and his brother Ornio, parodies of Luigi and Mario respectively, who fall into a computer's black void and are stuck there. A sequel, entitled Super Hornio Bros. 2, was released later that year. Shortly after the film came out, its distribution rights were quickly bought by Nintendo, making any release impossible. It had disappeared from the face of the earth until July of 2008. A user on the Something Awful website was tipped off by a forum post claiming that there was a parody of the Super Mario Bros. Upon being confirmed as real, the site attempted to buy the film through retailers, with no luck. Eventually, an anonymous user gave Something Awful a DVD rip of the sequel, Super Mario Bros. 2, in June of 2009. The first movie, however, hasn't been found and has been dubbed Lost Media. Unused Goop Maps. Unused Goop Maps refers to some unused map in Super Mario Sunshine. However, these maps are a bit different than normal maps. These maps were used by developers to determine where Goop would be in certain stages. Here are some of the most notable ones. Here's an unused Goop map for the previously mentioned Test 11 map, showing the unused Trample and Stew enemy running around. Here's another unused Goop map for Test 11, showing the silhouette of the aforementioned Kug. Here is an unused Goop map for Noki City, with the word stupid in Japanese written on it. The reason it's labeled as stupid is because Noki City is completely underwater. It would make no sense how Goop would be washed away with water if it's already in an underwater area. Finally, there is one more unused Goop map that is particularly notable. It is an unused Goop map for Bianco Hills that looks extremely creepy. It shows what is either a Goomba or Kug, a piranha plant, some kind of circular fuzzy thing, and this thing. It has what seems to be a bony hand coming out of its body, and a very disturbing looking face. Mario is Missing is not Luigi's first Soul game. For those who aren't aware, Mario is Missing is a multi-platform educational game starring Luigi. It was received poorly and was always thought of the first game where Luigi was the main character. This, however, is not true, as 3 years before Mario is Missing was released, there was another game starring Luigi called Luigi's Hammer Toss. Luigi's Hammer Toss was a Game & Watch game released in 1990 and involves Luigi deflecting hammers thrown by Hammer Bros. It's very hard to find footage or information of the game nowadays, so don't expect to find much if you look it up. Playable Bowser in New Super Mario Bros. Beta. This refers to a secret screening of an early version of New Super Mario Bros. At E3 2004. We still do not have any footage from this screening and has also been dubbed Lost Media. We only know this happened because of Nintendo World reporter Chris Martino and his write-up on the game. He states that at the end of the footage he was shown, Bowser was running through the level stomping enemies, breaking bricks, and even jumping on the flagpole. As we all know, however, Bowser does not appear as a playable character in the final game, only being the boss. There is no coding for him in the final game, and there has been no information about him besides this meeting. The Impossible Dry Bones. In the level Starshine Beach Galaxy in Super Mario Galaxy 2, there is a Dry Bones out of bounds. He spawns just above the death barrier, and since he's directly above the death barrier, he dies as soon as he is spawned. This is extremely bizarre because there is no other Dry Bones anywhere in the level other than that one, so it's hard to believe it was an accident. This is very similar to the Mystery Goomba, as they are both spawned on the death barrier for one frame. However, there are Goombas in that level. Here, there aren't any as they don't fit with the beach aesthetic. The Happy Face Sprite. This is one of the most obscure pieces of Mario history. No one can figure out what it was made for. No one knows its purpose. It has never appeared in any form of Super Mario media. It simply exists as a mysterious sprite that no one can figure out. In the code of Super Mario Bros. 2, a sprite can be found of a white smiley face. This can be found with the desert level sprites. It is present in the prototype build, the final build, and the original Doki Doki Panic. The face's features are noticeably off-center. It makes you think, what was this made for? Why was it made? If it was just a placeholder, then why wouldn't they just use a black or white square? No, they actually made a face. It seems that this face is unknown to most people. Those who have heard of it state that it leaves them with an unsettling feeling. They've said for being such a simple and meaningless sprite, it leaves them with a haunting effect, an urge they can't describe. And maybe that's just it. Maybe this is a meaningless sprite, and we as people see it as something much darker. This might not even be referring to the sprite itself, or Super Mario Bros. 2, or the Mario series, or even video games. It could be referring to the fact that we as people fear the unknown. Things like the sprite have no information, know nothing about it, and it makes us so uneasy. So maybe it's not about the happy face at all. Maybe it's about us. And that is the end of the iceberg. But that's not it, of course. Now, we will interview the creator of this iceberg, NatterJohn, and go over corrected entries, fan-suggested entries, and the future of these icebergs. Also, if you're enjoying the video and want to see more, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell to make sure you don't miss any more icebergs or videos. Alright, and here we are with my good pal and creator of this iceberg, NatterJohn. How you feeling today, John?
I'm feeling good. Happy to be interviewed by you at last. I say at last as if I'm waiting for this forever. No.
Of course, so I'm just gonna get into the questions, so why don't you tell the audience about yourself? Where are you from? What do you like to do? Anything you want to mention?
Oh well, I suppose my life is pretty simple, really. I don't live in America. Despite my accent, you might think I live in America. I don't. I just have ties to America. I'm actually from Europe, so I have to stay up really. I've always got to stay up really late to watch the Icers when they come out, because when they come out, it's like 6 in America and it's like 11 over here.
Of course. Well, that was really interesting. Now I'm just wondering, do you have like a favorite layer, by difficulty, like of researching, or just by because you like it, on the Mario Iceberg?
A favorite layer. My favorite layer would probably be the 9th layer for the Mario Iceberg, and the reason I say that is because that is probably the entry that changed the most.
Yeah.
And you can see the original prototype. You can put the original prototype in the video to show them.
Yeah, of course. Here it is, guys.
Right now. You notice that I originally had the Hyperface sprite was originally on the 9th layer instead of the 10th layer. But I moved to the 10th layer just because I was going to make that joke about the Hyperface sprite just being kind of this completely innocent thing that we took like seriously.
Yeah, we took so seriously. We'll talk about that later, trust me.
In fact, very early on, every layer of the iceberg was like a different version of the Happy Face sprite. Like, the first layer would have had the original Happy Face sprite, and every following layer would have used a custom edited version of it by me to make it look more scary.
Oh, like those, like the other icebergs where it's like that man who gets like slowly depressed, like that?
Yes. It was gonna start off as the normal Happy Face sprite, but by the time it got to the 10th layer, it was gonna have a frowning open mouth with bleeding eyes and a bleeding mouth.
Oh my.
Yeah, that was an original idea I had, but I didn't use it because I felt it would be kind of weird to have the Happy Face sprite on the first layer, but have the entry itself at the 9th or 10th layer would just seem a little strange.
Now before our next question for Mr. John, I'm gonna take this time to correct some of my mistakes on the iceberg. So apparently Mario 2 and Mario 3 actually happened, sort of. I didn't know this, but apparently Mario 2 was a dream, but the events of the game in Subcon actually happened, similar to the dream world in Pillow Island in Mario and Luigi Dream Team. Mario 3 also may be a stage play, but the events of the game actually happened because the sunken ship in Super Mario World is stated to be an airship from Mario 3 in the manual. I pronounced Super Mario Kun wrong, it's actually pronounced Super Mario Kun, so... Okay.
Well, I suppose that's a pretty understandable mistake, considering that's just how it's spelled.
It's more of like an English pronunciation of it.
Yeah.
Okay, next is, this one I still don't really understand. I said that the word pianissimo meant very soft when talking about il pianissimo, and some people have told me it meant really slow. However, I put pianissimo through Google Translate, and it says it means very soft, so I'm not sure.
Well, I actually used to play piano years ago.
Really?
So I could have sworn it was very soft. It would be kind of ironic if it was very slow, because El Pianissimo is a character you race as.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It would be a little ironic if his name was very slow and he was racing against you.
Yeah. Okay, next one is, I said that New Super Mario Bros. 2 had an online mode. However, it's just a local multiplayer mode. This was just kind of an accident. I kind of knew it was a local multiplayer mode. I just didn't say it, so that's... Oh, geez. Okay, of course, the one that everybody pointed out, the Trade in Toy Time Galaxy. I said it was about the trade in the sky, not the one in the block. I only picked a train in the sky because it seemed everyone already knew about the train in the block, but, I mean, I guess not, and everyone corrected me on it.
I don't know. I actually didn't even know. Well, I did know about the train in the sky. I think I heard about it once in a Swanky Box video. But at the time, I thought the reason for that was because it was just an asset that hadn't unloaded. You know?
Yeah.
And I guess another example of this, which is also related to Swanky Box,
Right. Okay, next one is the controversy about the water gun was, like this, I just got this from a comment, but apparently this was about the fact that a water gun looked like a gun, and Nintendo didn't want Mario holding a firearm.
No, actually, that
It
that
isn't.
that wasn't what the entry was, and I should definitely have clarified this. And this, I don't know if you heard of this, because this is very bizarre. Like, you're not gonna believe. I didn't even believe this when I heard about it. In the files of Sunshine, along with Flood's other nozzles, is a severed Yoshi head with its tongue sticking out.
What? What?
Originally, there was a scrapped Yoshi nozzle. Instead of having Yoshi, there was going to be a severed Yoshi head as a nozzle.
Oh my god! You probably should have put scrapped Yoshi nozzle instead of just scrapped nozzle.
Well, no. The reason I didn't put it scrapped Yoshi nozzle was because there was actually another unused nozzle.
Seriously?
Which still sort of you can still sort of see it in the game, albeit only through glitches.
Yeah. Of course. Now, this one had nothing really to do with you. This was more of just a mistake on my end. I somehow put Metal Mario under the Vanish Cap switch and Vanish Mario under the Metal Cap switch when talking about the caps in SF64. Guys, I was up late at night making these Iceberg videos. I most likely did it on accident from just being tired. Mario and Kirby.
Oh, Mario and Kirby Masterpiece OVA, yeah.
Yeah, I said OVA instead of OVA.
Again, like, I don't think that's, like, Super Mario Con, that's not really that big of a deal. That's just a simple pronunciation error. I mean, hell, even I made that mistake. Like, 5 minutes ago, I was saying test instead of text.
Oh, okay. And of course, finally, the smiley face. Yes, it is most likely meaningless. However, it was the last entry. I wanted to build up tension for dramatic effect. It was a joke. You guys don't need to lose your marbles. Some people have some pretty good theories, though, that it was either maybe an early
someone
Sun
said it was
Sprite.
an early Phanto.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that it's an early Phanto, which I could see.
Yeah, that is highly plausible, actually, now that I think about it. Because Phanto itself was designed to be extremely creepy, you know?
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say that some people have thought it was like a sun for like some people. I've seen this really good comment. Someone thought it was a sun,
yes.
and they would have like in Mario 3. But since Mario 3 was a play, it made more sense for the sun to come down. Maybe they scrapped it because it didn't make a lot of sense. Because really, a sun coming down would like just completely screw up the Earth. So
Somehow a sun coming down doesn't make sense, and yet a frog being killed by vegetables does.
yeah. What's up with that?
Okay. So I think somebody else as a joke said that Happy Face Sprite was an early design for Scrupulous Finger.
Yes, I see.
Oh yes. Of course, that's totally the reason.
That is absolutely the reason.
Totally. But yeah, really, I just threw it in at the end as a joke, like literally, because like lads, if you're complaining about us dragging it about, keep in mind, you almost had. You can show the template again if you want. You almost had a template where every layer was a variation of that sprite.
We could have done the whole every copy of something is personalized, but we didn't.
Oh yeah. Speaking of which, you probably showed this in the prototype Iceberg earlier.
Yeah.
But I did have the Wario apparition up there, and I also had the Mario creepypasta up
Yes,
there.
I was gonna mention that.
Yeah, I scrapped those entries because when I initially posted it, the first version of the Iceberg, which is the prototype, on Reddit, so many people complained about me adding those, so I just removed them.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well. Now, there are some comments that have suggested things to add onto the Iceberg. I'll tell you an entry. Maybe you can say why you didn't put it on. Well, our first suggestion is from Bradley17, who says World 9 in New Super Mario Bros.
World 9 in New Super Mario Bros. I really doubt that it exists. With how well documented the beta of New Super Mario Bros. DS is, to the point where we have documentation of a playable Bowser.
Yes, I was just gonna say that.
World 9 is. I mean, I suppose what this might be referring to is that unused globe-style world map in New Super Mario Bros.
I was just gonna mention that.
Yeah, the one where it was like the wheel of all the world.
Yeah,
maps.
and they were all, and some of them were like different. Like there was like a not it was like a forest. It was more like the beach
Yeah.
theme from Mario Wii.
Yeah, I suppose maybe what they thought, maybe they thought the center space was going to be for World 9, like the big space in the center was going to be for World 9, like it was in New Super Mario Bros. Wii would. But guys, that is very tinfoil hat theory. If that's what you guys are talking about, that is a very tinfoil hat theory.
Yeah, well, our next suggestion is from Vic and Guinea Pig Dan, who suggested Waluigi's Lost Flash game on the Mario Tennis 64 site. Apparently, one game had Waluigi controlling a robot to paint the lines of the tennis court to match the pattern that Luigi was holding. Another has you spray paint graffiti on posters of Mario and Luigi, and the last one had you clip Waluigi's toenails and email them to somebody.
Jesus Christ, what has this fan base turned into?
Well, it wasn't even that. This was fairly an official Flash game on the Mario Tennis 64 site. Apparently, it's lost. So.
Oh, it's lost media, is it? Well, I wanted to stray away from including Flash games, because if I did, I'd be way too tempted to include Super Mario Bros. 63. Super Mario 63.
I mean, that is a fan Flash game. This was real, but yeah, same thing. Like, I understand.
I really only wanted to include entries from the mainline games, the mainline platformers. Like, literally, I wanted to include at least one entry from every platformer game in the series. Like, I don't know, did anybody notice this, but the only platformer to not have a single entry on any version of the Iceberg is Super Mario Land 2. That's the only game I couldn't find an entry for.
Because I was gonna say Mario Land, but then remember the entry about Gunpei Yokoi being Miyamoto's mentor who created Daisy.
Yeah, and also one thing I could have mentioned, actually, looking back on it, was how Super Mario Land's bosses are based on Norse mythology, apparently. Yeah, apparently Tatonga is like an evil alien or something. I remember hearing that years ago. I think it was like in a very...
It was in a Mario top 10 disturbing facts about Mario or something.
I remember it was like a Nintendo-focused channel that mentioned it. I think it was... that entire channel had just this kind of eerie vibe.
Wasn't it like Todo Nintendo or like Tojo Nintendo?
Yes!
Yeah.
To do Nintendos. I think that's what it was called, yeah. Yeah, it's a very creepy video.
Oh yeah, it's really disturbing. That's where I found out about the super, I don't really want to mention it right now, but you know what I'm referring to, the parody movie that was on layer 10 of the Iceberg.
Oh, Super Hornio Brothers.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. Okay, next two are from Gotta Fist Dem All, who suggested how the continuous coin block from Mario 1 and the whole series, and the weird mushroom from Super Mario Maker were also developer mistakes, like the double cherry.
Well, okay, the reason, the continuous coin block, I actually didn't really know that was a developer error, and to be perfectly honest, until I read the questions before this, I reviewed the questions before this. Until before I reviewed the questions, I didn't even know that Super Mario Bros. Had continuous blocks. I actually forgot it did.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Somehow I forgot about that. But yeah, I suppose that's an understandable mistake, because that could be just like that could just accidentally, they might have just thrown a loop in there by accident.
Yeah. Right. And what about the weird mushroom Mario Maker? Where would you place these two, by the way? On the Iceberg.
I'd probably rename the double cherry mistake to just developer mistakes and developer bugs that became features. I'd probably just change it to that.
Yeah.
As for the weird mushroom, though, I wouldn't have put the weird mushroom on there, because like I said, I was only keeping this to mainline platformers. One day though, maybe long after the FNAF Iceberg is done, I might make a Mario spin-off Iceberg as well. If people have enough suggestions for that, I might do a Mario spin-off Iceberg if enough people want that.
Yeah, I mean, it'll probably be mostly like Mario Kart and Mario Party entries, but of course there's other things too.
Everything that isn't like the mainline platformers.
Yeah. Well, like, is
well, maybe I'll leave out the RPGs, because those are extremely
broad,
those
are a whole. You could make a whole other Iceberg on that.
Yeah, I could do that one.
Would you consider Mario Maker a main series game or a spin-off?
I mean, in the context of an Iceberg, I wouldn't include it. If
Okay.
that's what you want.
This next one is from this user whose name I would severely butcher, who suggested a couple things. His first suggestion was half A presses.
Half A presses, buddy, Pan and Koa could explain that a million times better than Tyson or I ever could.
Oh, definitely. But where do you think you'd place it if you put it on the iceberg?
If I put it on the iceberg, maybe somewhere around the middle.
Right, yeah.
Mostly because, you know, half A presses, you know, the middle. Haha, I'm so funny.
Yeah, the memes and all, of course.
Yeah, I'm so funny.
Alright, the final suggestion from this user, whose name I cannot pronounce, is the secret worlds in Mario 1 that were created unintentionally, such as the other minus worlds or the levels after 8-4.
Well, I feel Minus World itself could have covered that whole topic. You know, they weren't supposed to be there. You know, it was literally just there. I've heard there's like 256 worlds
Yeah,
in
there
all,
is.
and we only ever get to play 8 by normal means, which is like, what's that? That's 8 fours. That's like 32. That's like 32 levels we get to play out of however many. Someone can figure out what 4 times 256 is for me. I think it's 1024 actually. So we only get to play 32 out of like the 1024.
Yeah, it's
levels
1024. But
so
yeah,
I feel in general Minus World could have covered that whole thing. It just felt redundant to add another entry for that. And
right. Shameless plug, if you want to join the Little T Discord, link in the description. Me, NatterJohn, a bunch of other cool people from the channel are in there, so if you want to visit it, feel free.
yep.
Now, here are some suggestions from myself for entries, because I just thought of some afterward. What about... wait, I was going to say the Mario Creepypasta, but you already talked about it, so forget it. What about Motos, the scrapped robot Mario 64 enemy that was assembled from the source code?
But what was he again? I think some people found out that he was the enemy that the spin kick was created for, or whatever it's called, spin kick. Yeah, that was virtually useless in the final game, but apparently it was going to be used to defeat him originally.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of reminds me of a Chuckya, but like with more robot kind of things. But he's still kind of.
Who knows? He could have been an early version of Chuckya.
Yeah. That's cool. How about the... Oh, this is a very nostalgic one for me. How about the Beta Luigi Mansion cutscene where Luigi is depressed?
Well, once again, I'll probably be saving that for a Luigi's Mansion Iceberg if that ever happens. We'll see on that one. But the Luigi's Mansion depressed cutscene, apparently that was never meant to be used in the final game at all. It was literally just something created for that trailer.
Yeah, I think it probably was. What about the box art for Super Mario Odyssey changing to remove Sombrero Mario?
If I knew about that before I made the Iceberg, I would have included it. I literally only found that out after Part 2 came out.
Right, yeah, of course.
Well, I remember it being talked about, but I didn't remember it like off the top of my head, because most, if not all of these entries were from the top of my head.
Okay, how about the most offensive Mario game for the Satellaview that was recently brought to light by Thomas Game Docs?
Oh boy,
that is something. We don't need to delve into details, but...
Oh, I think that's another thing you might want to censor.
yeah,
Again, I feel that's more suited for a Mario spin-off Iceberg. Because, you know, most of the Mario games released for the Satellaview were spin-offs anyway, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, this next one, because of the fact that you're in Europe, I don't know if this is necessarily the best choice of words, but what about the offensive word spastic being used in Mario Party 8?
Oh yeah, you're saying, I was like, what are you talking about before? But then I remembered, oh yes, it's because Europe. Yeah, where I'm from, spastic is an extremely offensive word, and it's used, for those of you who don't know, it's a word mostly used to mock disabled people and like people in wheelchairs and stuff. It is considered pretty offensive over here. I don't think it's too bad. Over in the West.
Yeah,
over in Europe, especially in the UK, it was pretty bad. The whole game had to be recalled because of it.
Yeah. So you're
Yeah,
not in the UK?
No, I'm not in the UK. I'm from Ireland, which is right next to the UK.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yeah. All the memes can come out now about how I'm from the same country as Jacksepticeye.
I was just gonna say that.
Oh no! Fun fact: before NatterJohn, I originally planned to make my username Johnsepticeye. Literally because we're both Irish, but I scrapped that because that just seemed kind of stupid, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So this one is a bit. How about Wigger Wednesday?
Oh boy. Do you want? I'm sorry, guys, but I'm not gonna put a racial slur on an iceberg. So sorry. I'm doing everything I can to avoid cancel culture these days, guys. Sorry.
He's not gonna pull a Scott Cawthon.
Oh no. Sorry. It's not too bad if they changed it, because I think there was another case like that in like an official Mario strategy guide.
Oh wait! You stole. That was my last suggestion. No.
Oh, you were gonna talk about the Wrigglers, weren't you?
Well, I mean, yeah, kind of. I was gonna say, like, finally, my last suggestion is the Mario Encyclopedia translation plagiarism, where it copied the fan wikis, used the wrong translations, and all that.
Yes, that was a magnet for controversy.
Oh, I know. I have that book. I have 2 copies of it.
Oh my god, you had 2 copies of it? Oh my god.
I have the limited edition and the real, and like the normal edition.
Oh wow. I never picked it up for reasons I hope I've made obvious, but...
You literally are a Mario Encyclopedia. You don't need a book for it.
Yeah, especially, but...
But, well, that is the end of our questions. And by extension, our interview. I just wanted to give a big thank you to you, NatterJohn, for creating this iceberg and taking part of the interview. Is there any socials you'd like to give a shout out to, like your YouTube or Reddit?
Yeah, you can find me on any... You can find me on Reddit and YouTube. My username is NatterJohn. NatterJohn is the name I use for everything I have. So, if you want to stalk me, just look up NatterJohn in your social media. I'm probably there.
Great. Anything else I'd like to say?
I suppose one thing I will say... I was going to say this at the start, but I forgot to. I actually have a video that I'm gonna make eventually. It's going to come out on my channel, not on Tyson's.
Yeah.
I can't put a release date on it yet, but it's basically gonna be like a developer commentary video where I go even more in depth than I did in this interview, and I might even show some behind the scenes things. I might even show the making of the custom sprites I made, because I already mentioned the custom sprites I made of the Happy Face sprite, where I got kind of creepier as he went down, but. Also, I might have said this earlier, but the Happy Face sprite itself and the Hammer Mario sliding sprite were actually remade by me.
Really? Yeah,
on the original prototype, I used stock images from the cutting room floor, but they looked extremely blurry, as you can see, compared to the final iceberg.
Okay, that's cool.
So to get better quality ones, I had to recreate them myself from scratch.
Oh my.
Yeah, I suppose that's it really, unless you have any more questions for me. Just in general about myself or the iceberg.
I mean, yeah. I want to say thank you to the audience, of course, for watching this video. And if you want to see more of NatterJohn's amazing iceberg crafting, check out my videos on the Ultimate FNAF Iceberg. NatterJohn, once again, I want to say a big thank you to you. It was great to finally talk to someone who has such a wide variety of Mario knowledge. It was very nice.
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, if you want, you can join the Discord. Both Tyson and I are moderators on there. We'll take good care of you, and like I said, my social medias are all NatterJohn.
Of course.
Again, if the Mario spin-off icebergs that everybody seemed to be asking for ever happen, those will be posted on my Reddit as well, and I'll probably put them on the Discord as well at some point.
And it'll probably become a video inevitably.
Oh yeah, at some point we're gonna have to. We're gonna make a video on them eventually too. Probably. We're gonna run out of ideas at some point.
Of course. Well, again, please check out NatterJohn's iceberg commentary video when it comes out, and of course, and as always, I've been your host, Lil T. This has been NatterJohn, and I'll see you guys next time.
Talk to you lads. Bye bye.